Test 1, 2. Okay, I'm on. Well, here's the thing. We are live recording this, so I don't think I can come back. You guys are so far back, but it's fine. I'll let you stay and be your comfortable Lutherans in the back seats. So thank you so much for coming tonight, transitioning from confirmation. So thank you for waiting a few minutes while we get started. We have some important information to go over about the fundraiser. Raise your hand if you've done one of our spaghetti auction. Lots of you have. Raise your hand if this will be your first one. Yeah, see? So you can ask questions of anybody that has done one before. It's going to be very similar. There's a few minor changes, but nothing major. So March 17th, so actually St. Patrick's Day this year, we're having our silent auction and dinner. Oh, please tell me this works. Otherwise I'm going to be good to turn it on first. Okay. So schedule for that day, we moved up the opening of the online auction. We thought there's no reason that we can't have that open sooner. So that's going to go live at 7 a.m. that morning for online bidding. Last year was the first year that we did the auction available online, and we made a lot more money that way. It makes it a little bit trickier in some ways, but we worked through some of those kinks, and biggest thing is helping people in the congregation that aren't comfortable doing online bidding. We'll do some proxy bidding for them. So those of you that are older, juniors and seniors, I'll ask you to play that role of like working with an older member in the congregation if they don't want to have an account, or because the only way to bid on the auction items is online. So that'll open at 7. 9:30 we'll have worship that morning, and we'll also have Sunday sales for our dinner tickets. If there's any left at that point, they will start going on sale on February 14th, Valentine's Day and St. Patrick's Day. Look, Ash Wednesday is Valentine's Day this year, so that's when the tickets go on sale. And then that day at 12:30, we'll start doing setup. Tables, we fill the whole narthex with our auction items, and then the dinner is in Fellowship Hall, and we need lots of tables. You are asked to sign up for one of two shifts. One starts at 2 o'clock and will be done around 7:30, and then the other one will go from 3:30 to about 8:30 or 9, depending on how quickly we clean up. And each one will start with a waitstaff training in the living room. Then the people will start arriving about 2:30 for the actual viewing of the auction items in person, but everything, again, the bidding is all online, but the auction items are displayed here for them to come and look at. But some people will just stay home and bid online. Other people will come to the event. So at 2:30, after those of you that are doing the first shift and you do your waitstaff training, because all youth are part of the waitstaff, you will come and just be a part of mingling with people and while they're here at the event, chatting with people and greeting them and thanking them for coming. Then from 3:30 to 4:30, we'll have appetizers. We actually do a wine and beer tasting. Marcus Hansen is how do you say it? Sommelier? Is that right? Sort of. It's a fancy word for someone that knows wines. He will have little samples for people and do some opera. It's a really fun ambiance in here. We'll have, Katie will be here. If you are willing to share any sort of music talent, piano, guitar, instrument, vocal, anything like that, we would love to have you be a part of that. You could also record something ahead of time and we can play it on the screens. Step out of your comfort zone. It's really a special day. So that's 3:30 to 4:30. Then the last 30 minutes, the auction gets a little bit nuts. And that is when the bidding really gets fast and furious. And then at 5 o'clock, the auction will close. We'll go into Fellowship Hall for the dinner. We play a heads or tails game, which is where you flip a coin and they choose heads or tails, and you keep going until there's only one person left. And then we also do a live dessert auction, the infamous Light of Christ dessert auction. So, and then checkout will begin. People will come back in here to this area where we have items for them to come and pick up. So that is the gist of the day. Two pages of expectations of the youth. We all want you to help with this fundraiser, regardless of whether even if you've raised all of your money, we want you to come and be a part of this event. Maybe if you I've got these fundraiser sheets from Vicki of your youth account. If you have money in your account and you are not going to need to raise much, we can do a limited time that you're here, but I want everybody, if you're available, to be here at some point during the day to be a part, especially the dinner for the wait staff part. Sign up for those shifts online. The setup times are really optional. The thing I will say is that the more youth work, the more you will make. So what happens is we gather up all the hours of all that you all work. Let's say it's 1,000 hours. Then we will take that and the total that we make on the event. We make 20,000. We divide it by the total number of hours of the kids. We come up with an hourly rate, and then we will take that back to each kid's individual hours and compute a rate that they get. Now, we will take some off the top for our adult leaders, for scholarships, things like that. If we gave you that rate just right off, sometimes you would make upwards of $50, $60 an hour. So we do need to fund our scholarships. We need to, people want to support this event and support all the kids. And so although you're going to make the money based on how much you work, we also want to make sure that everybody's getting their $100 scholarship, that our adults are paid for, things like that. Now, last year with Belize was a little different because our trip costs were so much different, but like we've done in past years, we do hope that we can pay for all of the adult leaders that are going because they're giving of their time and volunteering for our trips. If you can't be there on the 17th, let me know. We'll find other things for you to do. Invite your family and friends to buy tickets, but also to make donations for the auction. Youth, you do not buy a ticket, okay? The tickets are for butts sitting in the seats. So we have only 200 spots. We don't want to sell tickets for people that are not going to be sitting in those chairs. So if you are an adult working at the event, the youth do not buy tickets, but if you're planning to do, you only don't just buy a ticket because you want to give the money, then just make a donation. So communicate that to people. If they're going to actually sit in the chair and eat the meal, then buy a ticket. And then workers will get food in the living room after everybody's served. You will all introduce yourself at the dinner, so we'll have each youth share their name and grade, and maybe something else we'll see. You wear either black pants, white top, or a black dress, black skirt, white top, black shoes. We've got red aprons. We're hoping for about 20 things at the dessert auction. Last year we had more than 20, and it went a long, long time, which was fabulous. We raised a lot of good money, but we're going to try to limit it at 20 this year and ask that each person do only one, and then if we need more, we'll come back to you, but a lot of people did multiples last year. You will get some time for the desserts. We do hope that they're homemade versus store-bought. They're just more special. Label it, and you'll get information about that, but you can sign up for desserts online. Some of these will go for, a sheet cake once went for 100 some bucks. What's the most a dessert's ever gone for? 400? Okay. So it's sort of bidding wars, and it gets sort of fun and competitive, and yeah. So it's fun and you will carry a dessert up, and Peter Grant does our auctioneering for us, and then it's sort of a live, if you've never been there, it'll be a fun experience for you this year. So every one of you needs to keep track of your hours. I sent you a link with a Google spreadsheet, and you will put, when you go into that link, you have to make a copy of it, because otherwise you're editing the document for everybody to see, right? So everybody clicks into that link, make a copy of it, do your own hour sheet, and then you'll submit that to me no later than the 20th after the auction. The sooner you do this, the better I can be in organizing and getting people information about what they made and those sorts of things. And then we also ask each participant to find 2 to 3 auction donations. So whether it's something from home, whether it's an item that you get from business or that sort of thing. So there's a little bit more about this. Be creative. Think about business owners that you know. Think about handmade items. Someone, Jeannie, I'm going to put you on the spot. Last year, Craig made a couple birdhouses, and they weren't sure how they were going to do, and they did amazing, and they actually got commissioned to make another one after the event. So you never know. We don't want 20 of the same handmade item. I think 2 was a good number. You can saturate it, right? But Think about grandparents, even homemade cards if you know some, like there's so many things, right? So think about those. Be creative. Reach out to connections that you have. We do want it to be new or in good condition. I don't want a bunch of rummage sale clothes. Clothes are hard to display. If they're brand new, it's one thing, but we don't want it to turn into a rummage sale. However, we've had some people donate jewelry or gently used toys or, things that are in good shape that can draw in some bids. We do want lots of items and to get people interested in this. Now, the thing I will say is gift certificates, wine baskets, tickets, vacation things like babysitting certificates even, do those things like that tend to go really well. Gift certificates will often go over value, okay? So one thing I'll recommend is if you're out to eat and you know that you go back there often, ask them, purchase a gift card that you're going to use future and see whether the manager will match it for your youth auction. Keep a letter in your purse, and when you're out somewhere, just say, I'd like to buy a $25 gift card, and my kid's going on a mission trip. We've got a silent auction coming up. Would you ever be willing to match the gift card, and you'll get good advertisement for your business, that sort of thing. It's an easy way. You're giving them business. You're there already, and oftentimes they're willing to make a donation to, so I know it's a little hard sometimes to put yourself out there and do that, but you wouldn't believe how, when you just ask, they're willing to make the donation. Anything that you do that's a non-physical item, like a babysitting sort of thing, you need to help us out by making a certificate. So put whatever information you want to have on there, how to contact you. I didn't put that on there, but here's an example of, I'm CPR and first aid certified. I took a babysitting course. I have tons of babysitting experience. Whatever you want to, maybe it's yard work. You're willing to do, there's been snow, but snow removal or lawn mowing, or people have done house cleaning and homemade meals. There's, lots of different ideas, right? So make a certificate for because we have to have something to give to the people that win your item. So if you don't do that, then we spend hours doing that and trying to keep track of what we have. The gift certificates are in this accordion file, and when they come to pick up, we need to look for gift certificate number 45. And so if it's a item that you're donating, a service of your time, we need to be able to give the winner something. We want donations no later than Monday the 11th, but the sooner the better. And last year we took donations up until 2 days before. I don't think we're going to be doing that this year. We're going to work really hard to communicate that they are going to be done on the week before. So if you're willing to go to businesses, talk to me. It makes a huge impact when youth go. If you're willing to go with me, we could go for an hour after school someday and just drive from place to place and stop in, and I have the list of who I know has donated or where, who's already donated or who has donated in past. If you're curious about those things and you have contacts at businesses, maybe reach out to me first and say, have you gotten anything from such and such a place? It changes all the time. So Delano Floral just brought in some gift certificates today. So it's nice if you know, and if you go in and they say, oh, we've already donated, all you have to do is say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that. Thank you so much for your support, right? So, if you're going to help sell dinner tickets, so Wednesdays during Lent and Sundays before and after worship, there will be a spreadsheet at the table. The tickets will be in the box, the cash box, and they will get one ticket per person that they purchase for. And they don't really need those to get in. We will keep a spreadsheet of who buys tickets, so it's just really for them to know when the dinner is, that sort of thing. But there's an adult price and a youth price, and that'll all be listed out on there. You just make as many notes as you can. Is it cash? Is it check? Are they going to pay online? How many tickets total? Are they adult or youth or child? That sort of thing. So you fill out the information on the spreadsheet. The best thing I can say is smile a lot and try to encourage, hey, have you bought dinner tickets yet? Have conversations with people. They're so excited to come and talk with you. There will be instructions at the table that you can look at ahead of time. I think this is also attached to the Sign Up Genius, so if you want to look at that, but it just kind of walks through some of the specifics of selling either equal exchange or dinner tickets. So the equal exchange, if you're not aware, is back in that youth corner. It's coffee, tea, chocolate, hot cocoa, there's hot sauce and chocolate chips, and so all the prices are back there. You can, kids that do that on a Sunday typically make at least $20 for a few minutes before worship and 10, 15 minutes after worship. So if you're here and there's nobody back there and you would like to just sit there and, you know, sometimes somebody will order a whole case of hot cocoa, right? Like, if there's no one there, feel free to fill in. You just put your name and the date on there and then keep track of what you sold. You know, that's back there with instructions too. But it's a great way to make money for your trip, even if you're here just for worship. So sign up for all those sale things for tickets and equal exchange is on that spreadsheet also. Adults that are helping, like if you're helping during the dinner or if you're cooking in the kitchen, there you can wear whatever you want. But if you have a past mission trip t-shirt, if you have a special apron you want to wear, if you want to wear the black and white, you can. If you're more comfortable just wearing jeans and whatever, I will let you, adults, you get to wear what you want. But I encourage you to dress for the day. Youth account totals I did get from Vicki. If you have a youth account, you've gone on a past trip, I have for every single one of you. And she just handed me these, so I'm going to have to, well, maybe I'll give them to adults and you can, I'll do them by last name or something, and then you can find the person and get your sheet. So this has on here, you know, everything all the activity that's happened in your youth account. So if you've gone on 3 mission trips, it's gonna, you know, some of them are 2 pages long. This will show you the account balance that you have in that youth account already. That what happens is you raise money and that stays in that youth account for you for as long as you are in high school. If you have a younger sibling, once you graduate, it will go to a younger sibling's account. It can be used for any youth trip, mission trip, Bible camp. You could also use it for a retreat registration fee or something like that. If, you know, we want you to be able to use it. So the only time that you're not going to get cash back. You're not going to get a check when you graduate or something. What happens is when you graduate, if you don't have a younger sibling, it will go back into our scholarship fund. Okay? Questions about the youth account? We'll do some pre-trip gatherings. I really encourage youth to find some ways to get connected so that we can get to know each other better. We have high school fellowship on February 28th and April 28th. Those are Sunday evenings from 5 to 8. And then there's also Friday Night Lights, that's open to 7th through 12th grade. The high school fellowship is just 9 through 12. It's a new thing that we're doing on Sunday nights. But Friday Night Lights is the second Friday of each month from 7 to 10. So you get emails about this all the time. So it should be in there. We'll do a Valley Fair this summer. If you have a suggestion of something that you want to do, I want to gather 10 of my friends and invite them to church. Awesome. Let me know when you want to do it, and I will meet you here, and I'll order pizza for you. Like, I want you to come and hang out here and have fun. Like, think of church when you want to hang out with your friends. Like, this is a great place, like, invite some new people. And, you know, it doesn't always have to be, you know, organized, open-ended things, right? Like, maybe there's something specific you want to do and have here at church that's youth-related. Just share ideas with me. That was how the Sleep Out happened. You guys came and said, we really want to do the Sleep Out. We organized that, and it was an awesome event last fall. We'll have at least one more for both the Boundary Waters and the Chicago trip that we will talk a little more specifics about the trips, you know, small groups and different things like that, but I don't know dates for those yet. And then Lent meals that we are serving, so before the Lent Wednesday worship, the Chicago group is leading on March 6th. Ooh, I got a parentheses in there for Boundary Waters, March 20th. So you don't have to work at those, but those that work, we do need some people to work at them. But again, if you work for that, you will get money for your account for that. So let me explain one thing that's been a little confusing to people in past. What you put on the hour sheet, you can put the Lent meal on there, but the Lent meal is totally separate from March 17th. The spaghetti dinner ticket sales, that goes towards your March 17th because it's for that event. Anything you do to prep, whether it's like if you help with a mailing for the fundraiser, anything that's for that March 17th event, you keep track on that hour spreadsheet, right? If it's equal exchange, you get that money. Vicki will put that in your account. It's specific to that one day. That does not need to go on the hour spreadsheet is just for March 17th. If you help with a Lent meal, that's probably the only other one. Last year we did all these other little fundraisers, but Lent and equal exchange, you don't have to put on that hour spreadsheet because they're independent of, we'll get the totals, you'll have it put in your account, you'll see it spelled out in there. The only thing you put on that hour sheet is for anything you do for March 17th. Okay, questions about that? I know I'm flying through things, but it's a weeknight and I want to get you out of here as quick as possible. So, before you leave tonight, I want you to take, so I'll start passing these around. This is a little description of some of the jobs that are happening at the fundraiser on March 17th. So when you think about what you want to do for that event. Did somebody get a two-sided one? Look, Madison, I think I had, yeah, you should, hold on, I'm going to try. You guys got my original sheet. Okay, there you go. So this is just sort of a description of the different things you can help with the day of the event, kind of helps you to know what you might want to do. And then this is the sheet that you fill out before you leave that is, start those and pass back. This is for you to share information. Now, if you've already filled out a shift online, that's great. If you haven't, this is a chance for you to let me know when you want to help. So that one, anything you want me to know, write on that yellow sheet and leave it with me tonight. And that's where you can put any questions. You can let me know that you're not able to be here. One thing I didn't explain is that parents, if you work, we want our youth to be volunteering. They're going to get 100% of their time. If parents volunteer, your kids are going to get half of your time. The reason I do that is because I really want the kids' hours are the most valuable. I need the adults to help out, but sometimes a parent will put in 40 hours, and it's just it can be a lot, and I really want to encourage the kids to be serving also. So parents, you will get half of your kids will get half of the time. So you can put that all in the same spreadsheet. If you as an adult are going to be putting in more time than the average adult might be, then you can keep a separate spreadsheet if you want to, okay? Let's see where we're at. I got lots of papers here. So, turn in your yellow sheet. Did you bring a school photo? Did you see that in the email? Leave that for me. Let's just say we'll put them back on the island. I'm going to put together a board again, like have Holly Capel make one of the big poster boards with the foam cores with the kids' pictures going on the trip. It's really fun to have that at the fundraiser and through the trip, just for people in the congregation to see who's going on the two trips. So I think I should be able to get them both on there, the Boundary Waters and Chicago. Sign up online. That link I sent out has gone out in a couple emails. Talk to other people about donations and desserts if you want to collaborate on anything like babysitting, or if you're going to make a dessert together. Maybe you want to make something that you can freeze. What is it, Leslie? What was it? Where are you? There's some famous freezer cookies, right? Yeah, they went for a lot of money. There are options if you don't have time that weekend to make something. Think about making something that you could, maybe it's a frozen apple pie. Like, there are so many options, right? So you can also put stuff like that on the actual auction. It doesn't have to be just the dessert auction. Somebody, I think Tools last year did cookies. Ryan, like a cookies one. How has that worked out? If once a month for a year or something, right? Yeah. So a lot of great options. Questions? I know it's a lot. I was going to start out with a prayer, but I just dove right in, so we're going to end with a prayer. This is the side of me that all of a sudden goes, oh gosh, this is like so much information, and this is not the heart of the trip, right? Like, this is the essential part of the trip to get to what's the heart of the trip, which is our youth going on an incredible experience, which I did the fundraising part first because I want the Boundary Waters kids to be able to go and not sit through the Chicago information, right? So this was sort of the head of like why we're, like what we need to do in order to get our youth on this incredible experience. Next, we're going to talk a little bit more about the heart, of course, of like why the trips, what specific things about our trip. So I know it's a ton of information. Please ask questions. Please, over the next 2 months or whatever until this fundraiser, know that if you send me an email and you don't hear back from me, text me or call me, because there may be a chance that if I don't respond right away, I might forget, and so just pursue me. It's nothing personal. It's a fabulous, even though this is sort of the business of the trip, March 17th is a really special day. Like, last year it was March 5th. It's varied on, but it's always a Sunday afternoon. We will pack the fellowship hall for this spaghetti dinner. It's 200 plus people. We'll sell out. The community life team does a wonderful job of having a very special meal. There's a great atmosphere and just a lot of camaraderie, and the youth have a lot of fun. So it really is a special day. Questions? Yeah. Sorry. Oh, yeah. Somewhere. I think I handed them all out, but is there a pile sitting anywhere? Oh, maybe I don't. So do one per family. Does anybody have an extra one or, do you have an extra one? Okay. All right, how many more are we missing? I probably only made enough for like one per family, and thank you, Natasha. Sorry, I should have made more than... Wow, I'm really making a lot of noise while I'm walking here. Yeah, I don't have any others up here. Okay. The other thing I brought with today is the donation form. Each item that gets turned in, this is super important for auction items, because if we don't have, I referred back to these lots after the last auction to look up a donor address or to remember what somebody donated. So this, if you're going to donate 17 things, write on one of them and then come to church and I'll make copies for you so you don't have to, rewrite every single one. But it helped, or just write the main information on one of them and then you don't have to fill out everything. But knowing what the item is, it also helps a lot if we don't have to research prices or how much something is. So if you know the cost of it, that also helps a lot. We typically start bids at 50%. It can kind of vary, but it helps a ton if we don't have to do a lot of research about items. Leslie and Jennifer are our two auction gurus again this year. Woo woo, thank you. So reach out to them with questions. Jennifer Grant has been a large piece of the dinner with Community Life. Raise your hand if people don't know who you are. And if you are interested in helping with any one of those specific areas, I will hook you up. So look at that white sheet that has the descriptions and find out let me know where you want to plug in. It's a lot of fun, but I do need a lot of adults in charge of different areas just because I can't be in 6 places at once. So I'll leave these back on I'll set them here for now. They're donation forms for auction items. I'll put them back on the island in a minute. Okay. Wow, 8:35, not bad. Felt like a tornado though. What else? I always miss stuff, so what am I missing? If you've done the event before, Kim. Absolutely. Yep. I probably already have 20-some things. Yeah. Jennifer and Leslie look at each other like, I didn't know that. Yeah, I haven't told you yet. Yeah. Yeah, they're coming in. Yes, anytime. There are donation forms in the office, so if you ever stop in and you don't have one, you can grab one. I'll attach it. I'm going to send you an email with this recording for anybody that wasn't here, but I'll just send it to the whole group because it's easier than me looking at. Actually, Natasha, would you be willing to just jot down, I should have had people sign in. Will you help me, or Jennifer, whoever, some adults, help me write down who's here so I know. That'd be great. Take an area. Jennifer Slipka, you've got the front area. Jennifer Grant, you got, Natasha's got. Write it on your yellow sheet on the back or something. Oh, you can, yeah, you can pass that around too. Okay, so unless there's other questions, I think we will have a prayer and then let our Boundary Waters kids go that are not going to Chicago. Some are going on both trips. Jennifer got Boundary Waters permit this morning. Woo! They went on sale at 9 this morning and she got it. So, permit has been obtained. And I learned the hard way this morning that they go within seconds. Holy cow. The Boundary Waters has totally changed. Unbelievable. So, yeah, you'll have more meetings down the road. Okay? Okay, let's pray. God, you're awesome, and sometimes we're so busy we forget that you're walking with us all the time. And so I ask that you remind us, give us little nudges, help us to remember, whether it's through a smile of a friend or just a kind word of a stranger, that you are at work in this world and that you are constantly moving among us and bringing about great joy in the world. So help us to see that good that's happening and to also be a part of the good in the world. Help us to spread your light. Help us to find ways to serve our neighbor and love our neighbor, and to just, whether it's on a mission trip or just in the halls of our high school, that we would find ways to share your love and help people to know how good you are. Thank you for this group. I ask that you continue to prepare our hearts and be in the details of all the things that are coming up, the auction, the dinner, our meetings, our fellowship events, all the ways that we connect, that you would help us to grow deeper into the person that we are to be, and that as we get ready for another trip this summer, that you would prepare the people that we're to meet and prepare our hearts for what we are to experience on these trips. So thank you for the adults and the leadership here, for our great congregation, and just continue to bless all the ministries that we have with our youth. Be with us as we leave. Keep us safe and healthy. And all God's children said, amen. Thank you for taking time for being here. I do have Chicago information next. So that was just fundraiser. Believe it or not, buckle up. Buckle up, Buttercup. That's what I say to my 5-year-old. So if you are just a Boundary Waters person, you can head out. But if you are going to Chicago, Okay, so I'm going to do this quickly as well, because I know you have homework and different things and need to sleep. So quickly, the schedule for the week. We are planning to leave Sunday afternoon. We will have a blessing and worship on the 23rd that morning at 9:30 worship. We will leave sometime that afternoon. I'm keeping in touch with some parents that have there are some tournament things. I'd love for our whole group to go together, but the reality is it's Chicago and it's close enough that if we need to leave before some people are able to join us, we'll figure that out, but the hope is that our whole crew will be able to go together, right? We'll get settled in on Sunday, have a night's sleep, and serve Monday through Thursday. Friday will be a fun day, and then we'll get home later Friday evening. I'm going to talk through some specifics of this more in just a little bit, but I just kind of want to give you an overview of what that week is going to look like. We are planning to get home Friday evening, okay? Probably not till 10, 11 o'clock at night, but we'll get back Friday night. Transportation, we are planning I've been trying to get together with my adults. We have not succeeded yet. Jeannie Schonsberg, wave because you're probably not going to stand up. Leslie, you can stand up. Oh, perfect. What am I thinking, Jeannie? Lindsay? Adults.
I'm putting this on my calendar,
So these are the adults. I'll go back to the other slide. But Lindsay Riefenberger, Leslie Burscheid, and Jeannie Schonsberg, okay? You can sit down now. The other one is Heidi. She is actually on a medical mission right now in Costa Rica. So she's not here right now, but sends her love. So that's Heidi. And then, question mark, adult male, question mark. I've been talking with lots of some dads, some various people in the congregation that would fill our adult guy role. If, by chance, you are interested in going on this trip, talk to me. And even if you're a mom that wants to go, I'm not going to say it's out of the question. We have enough adults, and yet I will say the trips are just as impactful for the adult leaders that go as for the kids. So, but we do need, per our bylaws, our insurance liability policies, we need to have an adult of each gender represented for, if it was an all-girl trip, we wouldn't need to, of course, but we have guys going, we're going to have an adult male. So, I'm not worried about it. I've been praying about it. We will have the right people. So, jumping backwards, so that's who the adults are. Those adults for transportation, what led me into that was that I've been trying to get the adults together. We are going to have the option of either driving our own vehicle. So this is one of the things I was going to talk to you about when we got together. Either driving a vehicle that we have if it has space and we're more comfortable doing that, or renting a vehicle. So the transportation essentially will be carpooling from Light of Christ to Chicago. We're not going to charter a bus or have, so we will have individual vehicles. There will be some transportation. I think there will probably be one day that we take the city transportation into town, because Chicago is, how many of you have been to Chicago recently? It's been years for me. It's not set up for cars it's really expensive to park, and so, but I'll talk more about that in a little bit. So adults, and then service days. So Monday through Thursday, I have spoken with our site director is a pastor. Her name is Pastor Kelly. She lives in Chicago and she works for Lutheran Social Services. She works for the organization that we go through our mission trip is called Service Learning Camps, and she is a Service Learning Camps staff person that has a day job as Lutheran Social Service staff. Like, she works at Lutheran Social Services, but then she also works with Service Learning Camps. So she is our site director. I spent about an hour and a half on the phone with her on MLK Day, and we talked through lots of different things. But these are some of the things that she is working on for us for service sites. So most likely there will be a day that we're working with those experiencing homelessness, whether it's at a soup kitchen, First Presbyterian Church downtown. She said they are the juxtaposition of wealth and poverty. She said you will have a fancy violin concert going on and people coming in the front door with their Gucci and high-end furs, and in the other door have people that are coming to get food and clothing because they don't have enough to get through each day. They are a church that is sort of meeting people where they're at. It's a beautiful congregation, she said, that does a lot of ministry. So there's a chance that we could be helping First Presbyterian. Another organization she talked about is Care for Real. You can look it up. Just Google Care for Real Chicago. They provide clothing, food support. We could be working in a soup kitchen or a food shelf or clothing. It's sort of like Damiano Center if you were on the Duluth trip. Something like that. We are going to have a day for sure that's based around immigration. I forgot my tablet in my office with all my notes, but I've been doing church ministry for 25 years. I don't get surprised by a whole lot anymore. I have seen a lot of things, heard a lot of things, done a lot of different mission trips. when she told me about what's happening in the cities of Chicago, New York, and Denver around immigration, my jaw hit the floor. 33,000 people are being bussed up from Texas yearly to these three cities. The governor of Texas has an agreement with the governor of Chicago, New York, and Denver that they are safe places that are willing to welcome and harbor immigrants. And she said 17 million people have left Ecuador and there's people from Latin and South America countries. They're not from Mexico anymore. And over the time of COVID, they were not processing people that were coming across the border as, when they were escaping things from their own country, right? And so they sat in detention center for years and now are being bused to these three cities in the thousands, and they've ridden on the bus from Texas to Chicago nonstop. They show up with babies with dirty diapers, no food, flip-flops, and they have to figure out how to help these people. This breaks my heart, knowing that there are, these organizations are working to try to, do something to help, and yet they are also told that they can't do anything because they have to be when they go to the shelters, homeless shelters, they can only have state employees working there that are vetted and trained and whatever. They can't have people from organizations like Lutheran Social Services because they can't. So there's this something that I knew very little about. I of course know about immigration, but had not heard the specific information about what these cities are going through, right? And she said, next year, they're expecting it even to be higher because the Democratic National Convention is happening in Chicago. Or this year. Next year being now 2024. So she has, part of what we do on these trips is not only service, but also helping to learn, right? And so we will learn some what the immigration issue is in Chicago. She said we'll also hopefully be able to work with some of the children that are immigrant children that are, they can't provide any programs, but they could provide something at a church, and if the immigrants then choose to go to it, so they can't go in and do any programming, but they can offer programs in other places where they might show up. So I'm not exactly sure how this is going to take shape. It'll probably be that we listen and learn some, and then hopefully meet and get to know some of the children. An ecological day where we might spend time cleaning a watershed and then possibly kayaking or biking on Lakeshore Drive. She said that's a really fun way to see the city and just a great way to connect our care for the earth with our enjoyment of the earth. And then there's also a huge community garden that she said that would be a day where we could work at the community garden in the morning. And then one of the issues that we're going to have is showers. We all like to take a shower every day, and yet they are not going to be readily available in the church that we're staying at. So when we arrive on Sunday night, I don't have the church yet. We're still working on details. Lord of Life in Maple Grove is also doing a Chicago mission trip through service learning camps. They're going later in July. So Neil Christians is the youth director at Lord of Life in Maple Grove. He and I are talking about congregations. What I will say is that right now, what I know is that it'll most likely be in Evanston, which is north of Chicago, a suburb. It's where Northwestern College is. There are several beaches around there. Kelly knows which ones are decent, like family-friendly beaches, not party beaches, and so we will go to an appropriate beach, and we'll talk about that a little bit more too. But Community Garden Day would most likely be that we would be in helping in the community garden, maybe harvesting. Lost my bit. Oh, there we go. Working in the community garden and then having an afternoon at the beach to swim and get a shower. So we're trying to be creative. We may end up getting a shower at, Pastor Kelly actually has, I think, a VRBO and she said we may end up using that for shower. We're getting creative about showers. So that's one of the issues that I'm trying to work through is like how to get 20 people 30 people a shower each day when we're not staying like we stayed in Belize. So, any questions about service sites? The thing I will say is that we kind of have an idea of how we're going to serve. This is maybe more specifics than I've had in past years, right? Like we go into it knowing that we are going to serve wherever best they can use us, right? Like we might get there and find out that, oh, the community garden is shut down because whatever. And now we're gonna be doing one full day at Care for Real and one full day at First Presbyterian or whatever. So we go into it being flexible and going where we, it's also, there might be a chance that we have, 2 groups of 10 or whatever that we'll always have adults, we'll always have larger groups. And that's next on our list is safety. Well, first of all, any questions about service? Whew, I'm dehydrated. Okay, safety is always our number one concern, right? We are always going to put the safety of our kids at the top priority. We will always be in a large group. These are things that Pastor Kelly and I talked about. We will be staying, sleeping overnight outside of the city limits in a safe neighborhood. We are never taking public transportation after dark. She said that would be where you would find more crime, right? Public transportation is great during the day, but crime is different at night. We're always going to be in safe areas in the middle of the day. Another big thing is we're going to be working with established nonprofits who have relationships with those that they serve. They have safety measures in place. She said, she said, for example, if there was something that happened at one of these service sites, like they have relationships with these people and they resolve issues very quickly. She said, you are working in places that they know the people and they have things established. They have groups come in all the time. So we're not going to be sending our kids out to flyer, hand out flyers or proselytize somewhere. You know what I mean? Like we're going to be working with established organizations. Swimming safety. We are very mindful of water safety. She and I talked about being at a beach where there was a lifeguard, but if there's anybody here that's lifeguard certified, I was wishing Josie was with. Is anybody on the trip, adult or youth, lifeguard certified? Okay, I wasn't sure, I didn't think so, but Lindsay, stop it. She is? She's not signed up?
Maybe she's not.
We'll talk afterwards. But we will, a thing for me with ever swimming in a lake is, and Lake Michigan is large, it's not like your normal Minnesota lake, right? So we will pay attention to weather, we will pay attention to whatever, for example, I took a group to New York back in 2008. We went to Coney Island, took the bus all the way out there. We're full in our suits, ready to go swimming. We got out there, and the weather had turned while we were taking the transportation. When we got there, the kids were so mad because I'm like, we cannot go in the water. I'm sorry, it's a red. We are not swimming. We went back, and none of us were able to get in the water. We got home. The next day, the headline was that 2 guys died in the undertow in the water that day. So we are absolutely going to always make decisions about the safety of our group, whether you think it's safe or not, or whether you think you're the strongest swimmer. There's going to be times when you're going to have to follow what the adult leaders say and what's the best for the group based on what we decide for your safety. So even if we're all ready to go swimming, we get out there and then they raise a red flag, we're done. So I'll look more into the swimming stuff if, we're just going to have to, we'll make sure that we're at a beach that has lifeguards. So if you have any concerns about any of this, of course, talk to me. But this was the surprising thing. Do you know what she said the number one safety thing was? Not having your phone out. So it was interesting to me that in Belize, our number one safety concern was dehydration. She said the number one safety thing is having your phone stolen because it's all your personal information. It's what people are looking for when you're out and about. So she said if you are if your kids have phones and you are out in the city, it needs to be, you just don't even have it out. Like, people will come by and just swipe it from your hand and take off, like, even if you have it out, right? So even us adult leaders, this, again, not much surprises me anymore, but this is very different from what last time I took a group to Chicago was pre-smartphones, right? It just is a different ballgame. So you've got so much information on that device, it really is a liability. So youth, you will get your phone when we travel. You will not have it during the week. So you get to disconnect for a little while, and if you've gone on a trip before, I've discovered that most of the youth actually don't even want them back at the end of the trip. They're like, give me a little more time. You connect in different ways, more deeply. It really is a refreshing break. So, but I was really surprised when she said this, that phones are the biggest liability for safety.
Just a question, like, when you took the kids back, I don't know, a few years to Chicago.
Yep.
They had rules about, like, what you should wear, how you should wear your hat.
I'll find out about that, and we're not going to be in areas that are high gang, but I will ask the questions about clothes. Say again?
Even, like,
Traveling in a car.
if you do something, like, be it educated the kids.
Yeah.
Just,
Yep. So for anybody online that watches this later, the question was about clothing and different, even just mannerisms, or having some education about making sure that we're making smart choices about, you know the gist I mean. So I'll ask Kelly that question. She's lived there for many years, so she'll probably give some good advice on that. Okay, other thoughts? Friday Fun Day options. Millennium Park, this is what they call the bean. That's that big sculpture thing that is a big mirror that, so that, what she and I talked about is that Friday it would be really fun to drive down to that area, park our vehicles, pay the, expensive fee for the day, have a day where we are sightseeing and doing some real Chicago type things with our group. Get Chicago deep dish pizza for a good hearty lunch, or Coney Island hot dog, or not Coney Island, Navy Pier. Is that Chicago? I mix up. Yeah. The hot dogs are famous, all that, whatever. But get a good meal, and then drive back right from downtown Chicago. We'd go straight from there, probably stop somewhere for supper on the way home, and then get home. But really, Friday is, their Navy Pier, Chicago River architecture tour. I was looking, and they have these big boats that you can take a tour down the river and learn about some of the architecture, I guess, which looked kind of cool. Art Institute of Chicago, Museum of Science and Industry, Wrigley Field, of course, Chicago Cubs. I have not looked at their schedule. I have no idea how expensive that is. But Magnificent Mile is the shopping, so you want to go from one extreme to another, a service all week, and then, going down Magnificent Mile, but another, iconic Chicago thing, the Sky Deck of Chicago, Willis Tower. So I would love for you to give your input, think about what you would want to do on that day. That Friday will be a day for us to just have some fun, and then we will drive back Friday night. I'm also been looking into some options for housing so I haven't talked a lot about lodging. My thought is that when we get there Sunday, we will stay in a church that is housing us for maybe Sunday, Monday, Tuesday nights, okay? We would have